everyone, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I know it's been a while, but a lot of you guys have been asking for an update, so I thought that I would just quickly film an update, even though I am absolutely exhausted today. Please bear with me. I'm getting a lot of exhaustion lately, even from doing the tiniest things, but I will explain, I'll talk about all of that in this video. And I also recently moved house. You might be able to see that the scenery is a little bit different around here. And I am working on something a little bit special to help you guys some more. So I'm very exhausted at the moment. Please bear with me. I've made some notes for today because a lot has happened since my last update video. Before I get into it, let's just address the scenery around here. I am making my space Christmassy because I'm spending Christmas alone. So all of you guys who will be spending Christmas in bed, I'm with you. I'll be spending it at home alone because Ross will be working. I will have my little snowman as a companion. He bought it for me so that I have a companion on Christmas Day, and I will be attempting to cook a lamb shank with some mint cauliflower mash. I really hope that I'll be able to achieve it. So everyone who is homebound or bedbound for Christmas this year, I'm right there with you, and we'll be making the most of it. So let's get into the Disulfiram update. If you don't know how long I've been on Disulfiram and the doses I've been taking, I will link my previous videos down below in the description box. There'll be a little arrow and you can expand the box, and there'll be links to my last videos. I explain it all there. I do recommend you watch those if you haven't, because it explains my whole journey on Disulfiram up until now, and now I'm just doing an update. So in my last update, I told you guys that I increased my dose to 200 milligrams every second day, and I have been doing that dose for a while now. So the month that followed on that dose wasn't easy. I had a lot of ups and downs. I had some good days and I had some really bad days. And then we moved house, which obviously wasn't easy at all. Ross did a lot of the packing, and then once we moved, he went and worked because he works long hours, and I unpacked almost the whole house. So I unpacked everything. The house was already furnished, but I unpacked all of our clothes, put them in the closet. I unpacked all of our stuff for the kitchen, for everything. I unpacked absolutely everything in one day. So that obviously led to extreme exhaustion the next day. And the extreme exhaustion also came with like a depression, like just a very, very low state of mind. And I'm just going to explain it as I remember it. It's all kind of muddled in my mind because there were just so many things going on with my body and my mind at this time. It was actually very recent. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. So after this extreme exhaustion, I had some strange depression, and then eventually I kind of recovered from the depression and the exhaustion. I kind of regained my stamina back and leveled my mind out, and I did start to feel like an increase of dopamine started happening in my brain. I did start to want to write a lot. In fact, I wrote a lot again, and I recognized these symptoms from the last time my dopamine increased a bit too much. But I was really enjoying it, and I was feeling really happy. And I remember Ross took me out for a drive, and I was just so happy. I was like dancing to the music on the radio, and I was laughing, and I was like making jokes, looking at myself in the mirror. Like, I don't know, I was just doing strange things. It just was so out of my personality. And I could feel that there was something not quite right. I knew that this feeling wasn't such a good feeling. But the very next day, it was like my mind was flexible. It switched straight from the happiness to a depression. And it was like something in my mind just went dark. It was so strange. It wasn't my thoughts. It wasn't anything to do with something that I had control over. I knew that I had no control over this. And my mind was just very, very dark and depressed. And I just felt so incredibly sad and down and just hopeless and helpless. And it was a horrible, horrible feeling. And I would sit up at night crying because I couldn't sleep through this feeling. It was just such a horrible feeling that I couldn't even sleep through it. So I lowered my dose to 100 milligrams every second day. But still, I was struggling and it didn't quite feel right. This happened within just maybe 3, 4, 5 days. So I decided to take a few days break. Something that also started happening during this time is my insomnia started to return. So usually on Disulfiram, I sleep so much better. I sleep really easily on Disulfiram in comparison to before. I don't think it's really easily for a normal person, but I take like maybe an hour, 2 hours to fall asleep, and then I do fall asleep when I'm on Disulfiram. Whereas my insomnia, not on Disulfiram, I can go a whole night without sleeping. So usually I'm very happy with my sleep on Disulfiram, but the insomnia started to return at this point, which is really confusing. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and I booked an appointment with my Cape Town doctor, and I did an appointment with him over Skype. Well, it wasn't really Skype because Skype is blocked in the UAE. It was over another app that works in the UAE. And what he said was very interesting. He said that at this point of my treatment, the pathogens that are dying are releasing a lot of heavy metals, and I have heavy metal overload. So I basically have a lot of heavy metal settling on the brain, and I have a lot of heavy metal settling down my spine, and I guess just everywhere in the body, but it explains a lot of things that I've been feeling and going through. So he said that I need to go on a few chelators for heavy metals, and he did give me a list of exactly what I need to go on, and they haven't been delivered yet. I ordered them online, but as soon as they're delivered, I will do an update video and I will show you which ones he told me to take, but those are specific to me. So those aren't the ones that are going to help for everybody, but they are specific to me. But I'll still show you just so you know what my journey is. You know, I'm all about just sharing my personal journey, and I always say that everyone is different, but I can only share my experience. So I will share with you exactly which chelators I'll be taking as soon as they arrive. And then he also wanted to put me on a medication that isn't actually available where I am, and it's called Alinea. I believe it is available in the States. I believe that it's quite easily accessible in the States. It's a prescription medication. It's like an antibiotic. So obviously you would have to consult your doctor, and your doctor would have to put you on it. But that is one of the things that my doctor said would benefit me at this stage of treatment, which is interesting. I can't get hold of it here, so I might be able to make a plan somehow, but I doubt it. I will update you guys if I am able to make a plan, but he just said that that is a medication that would benefit me personally at this stage of the game as well. So that was his feedback. And he said that I'm okay, I just need to lower the dose. He said that I can stop for a few days if I wish to. If the symptoms become unbearable, I can stop for a few days if I wish to. So I decided to take a little bit of a break, and I decided to do some chelating on my own, which was not a good idea. I don't recommend it. I wanted to do it because I couldn't wait until the supplements arrived, but I don't recommend just doing whatever you feel. And this is why. I decided to take some chlorella, and I decided to take some molybdenum, and the very same night that I took those chelators, I couldn't sleep, and at about 3 a.m. I jolted up in my bed with like a jolt that went through my body, and I started to have episodes of tremors or twitches, I guess you could say, and my speech was also stuttering, and my breath was also almost like stuttering. My breath, it was like breathing like that, and my head was twitching like this, backwards like that, and I felt very, very tight on the back of my head, which is something that is quite consistent when I'm on Disulfiram, but very tight on the back of my head and on the back of my neck. I felt a lot of tightness there, and I speak about that a lot, but it was very significant at this point, and I felt like it was almost like pulling my head back like that. And it was just very, very scary. It went on for about a half an hour, and Ross was here calming me down. He was telling me it's going to be okay. He was telling me it's going to pass. And he stayed with me until the episode ended. But it was very, very scary, and I still didn't feel so good when I went to sleep. I felt like it might be a bit dangerous. Luckily, when I woke up the next day, I felt a little bit better. But around this time, feelings in general that I was having that I felt was dangerous is I was feeling very floaty, like my arms were feeling very floaty, almost like I couldn't feel my arms. And I was feeling very, very lightheaded and very weak, and almost like my body was just very floaty, like I couldn't feel my body properly. I felt like I had no control over my body, and I had almost like vibrations in my chest and almost like a floaty feeling in my chest as well. It was almost like a feeling like I was on a rush. It was almost like a rush feeling, and I felt like just very floaty and just very strange, and it was giving me anxiety because it's sensations that are just very foreign to me. And the other thing that I was feeling was like a pain in my lower back and like numbness from my lower back down the bottom of my thigh, the back of my thigh. And that would come and go with certain positions and certain movements. And that's something new as well. I don't usually have that. So these sensations were already there before I stopped my dosing of the disulfiram. So I know that it was from the disulfiram. Something in my body was changing from the disulfiram. It could very much be due to the heavy metal load, because it is known that disulfiram does chelate to heavy metals, but not in a good way. It chelates to them and dumps them in the stomach and on the brain. I don't understand the whole science of it, so I don't want to give an explanation in case I explain anything incorrect. But I know that when you are taking disulfiram, it can dump copper in the stomach, and it can lead it to your brain as well. So that's why they say you should really take it really slow with the doses. And if anything arises, any symptoms arise, you just need to pull back on the doses or take a little bit of a break. So that is what I've done, and I am a bit better now. Another thing that I'm experimenting with is enteric capsules. So I have ordered those, and they will be arriving hopefully soon. And what those do is you can put your disulfiram in those capsules, and it will go past the stomach, and the disulfiram will absorb in your intestines, I believe, instead of in your stomach, because that's where the heavy metals can get absorbed into the bloodstream, I believe, and then that's how they get dumped in your brain. That's how I understand it. I may be incorrect. If I'm incorrect, put it in the comments below. But the bottom line is that the enteric capsules help with the heavy metals being dumped in all the wrong places in the body while you're on disulfiram. So I have ordered those, and I will be testing them out, and I will report back to you guys how it goes on the enteric capsules. I'm only going to start treatment again once I have those capsules. And something important to know is always firstly consult your doctor before you do these things. And secondly, when you do take the enteric capsules, usually the disulfiram absorbs more in your body, so more of the disulfiram will be absorbed by your body. So you have to take 1/4 of your usual dose when you're putting it in those capsules. You don't crush it, you just cut it with a pill cutter, and then you put it inside the enteric capsules, and hopefully that resolves the issue of the heavy metals. I will still be chelating my heavy metals because I know that I have a very big heavy metal load, and that is something that a lot of experts or doctors who treat Lyme say, that you cannot clear your Lyme unless you have cleared your heavy metals. And when I say clear, I mean reach remission. So I am going to be continuing with treatment as soon as I get those capsules. I don't want to do it just the normal way for now because I'm just scared off by the symptoms that I felt lately, and I just don't want to put myself through that stress and trauma. I do believe that that keeps you sick. If you are so stressed and traumatized the whole time and you're always worrying about how you feel, I do believe that that keeps you sick. Another experience I wanted to share with you guys, because it's something that I've really been looking into lately, is when I was off the Disulfiram. So it's only been, I think, like a week. So this was during the week. I was already off my dosing and I had a quick visit to the dentist. And I also went for a little treat to eat. It was like a sugar-free place, and I had a little treat, and we were just in and out quickly. And then we came home. So the whole experience was maybe about 1.5 hours long. And just from that little outing, the next day, my exhaustion was so extreme. I had a thirst for energy in every single cell in my body. My brain was just going crazy. It was a mush, but it was working overtime, and I couldn't sleep and I couldn't rest. And I was in so much brain fog and just so shaky, and my heart was going fast and palpitating. And it was just from that little outing, which is just so mind boggling to me. But I was thinking about why that happened. And it is something that I have spoken about before, but I was never able to put a name to it. But the more sensory overload that I have, so the more light, it was during the day that we went out, the more movement, I was in the car, the more conversations. So I obviously was talking to the dentist about what I want to do. It was to do with my wisdom teeth, and I have like a skewed tooth because my wisdom teeth are coming out. But I was talking to the dentist and explaining all of these things, just like I'm talking to you guys now. My brain is becoming a mush, but I do it because I really want to help, obviously, and I love doing this. So, but when I talk, my brain becomes a mush. When I have conversations, my brain becomes a mush, and I get extreme exhaustion. I can even now feel my body just, the energy just draining out of my body. And I realized that this is something called sensory processing disorder. I was like looking it up, and I was reading all the symptoms, and I was reading everything about it. And this is what it is. It's sensory processing disorder, which usually happens to children when their brains are still growing. But I guess it happens to people with Lyme as well, because their brains are struggling. Their brains are overburdened and their brains are toxic. So I guess that's why it happens to us. And it can even happen just by sitting and thinking, or just by writing, or doing something that works your brain too much, and your brain is not able to process everything that's coming at it, and it's not able to take in everything, and it just gets tired and it gives up. And actually, heart palpitations are one of the consequences of this. So it's all very interesting and all very confusing at the same time. Obviously, the body is so complex. None of us really know what's really going on in our bodies, and there's so many systems and processes, and everything is so linked up, and it's impossible to really figure out exactly what's going on with everything in our body and why we get every single symptom. But that is something that I've really been struggling with. And yesterday I had a really busy day because I am working on something a little bit special for you guys, but it's giving me purpose, you know. And as I say, I like to turn my pain into purpose, and I want to make this all worth it, and I want to make this whole journey worth it so that I can help others. You know, I want to put my journey out there so that I can help others. And I believe that everything happens for a reason, and that I am supposed to be helping other people. So that's why I'm putting all of my effort into it, and it's actually making me feel really good in my soul and in my mind, but my body is not feeling so good. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'm really exhausted, but I'm still really, really, really hoping that I will be okay by the time my wedding comes around, because I don't want to have this problem on my wedding day. Can you imagine? Wedding days are so busy and there's so much going on, and I can just imagine myself just losing energy and focus on my wedding day. And when that happens, my mood also goes really, really, really low. And all I want is to be able to enjoy my wedding day. So that's my goal, guys. And I will be taking you with me on the journey. And I really hope that I'm going to be able to reach that goal. I am planning on traveling to Cape Town a little bit early. So I'll go there, I think, around February, and my wedding is at the beginning of April. And the reason why I want to do that is obviously because I have things to plan for my wedding. I'm planning my own wedding. But also, I want to do treatments in Cape Town. So I want to do more ozone therapy. It's so much easier to do it there because it's much cheaper there. And I want to obviously see my doctor regularly when I'm in Cape Town. And then I'll also be doing some other treatments while I'm there, like reflexology and maybe some acupuncture. And I know that that always gets me on track. It always gets me feeling a little bit better. It always heals me quite well. And also, after I travel, usually I like to have some time to recuperate because traveling is so, so hard on my body. I will be doing a video on tips for traveling and for keeping your health while you travel, because I do have some great tips for that as well that I've only discovered recently traveling. It really, really helps. So that's all for my update today. I know it was a lot. I'm so sorry if this video was really long, but I really hope that it was helpful. And let me know if you can relate below. Let me know your thoughts below. Let me know if you've had similar experiences on Disulfiram below. I'm not giving up the Disulfiram journey. I will be continuing. I do feel like in general, I am still improving. My health is still improving in general. I'm so grateful that I'm able to make these videos. I'm so grateful that I'm able to actually do things and work on little things here and there. And I'm grateful that I am going to be able to hopefully make myself a lamb shank on Christmas Day. I will also be documenting that. I'll put it on my Instagram, maybe I'll put it on my YouTube, I'm not sure. But I will be documenting it and sharing with you guys, just so you can see my ups and downs, my journeys, what I do achieve, what I don't achieve, because my journey is full of disappointments and it's full of surprises too. You just never know, it's unpredictable. So that's why I share, because I know that we can all relate. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!